Since 2018, Red Bull has consistently been the most dominant team when it comes to pit stops. For 7 seasons straight, the Milton Keynes-based outfit claimed the DHL Fastest Pit Stop Championship, given to the team with the best pit stops across an entire season. It has been incredibly dominant when it comes to pit stops. However, that dominance has disappeared in 2025. In today's video, we dive deeper into the issue, where and why Red Bull is losing control and why the 6-time Constructors' champion is suddenly making inexplicable mistakes. Where Red Bull once excelled in strong pit lane performances, they're now facing an elusive problem. And Max Verstappen, he's anything but happy. You'll discover it all in today's video. But before we get on with the video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get on with the action. Just as the Constructors' title seems completely out of reach, Red Bull also appears to be missing out on the DHL Fastest Pit Stop Award. A look at the pit stop standings shows that Red Bull is 6th with 47 points. Compare that to the 188 points of, yes, you'll never guess, Ferrari. Teams receive points in this classification for the fastest pit stops using the same point system as race finishes: 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and 1. Ferrari has proven to be the master of the pit lane this season, particularly in tyre changes. Only in Miami was their winning streak broken, and by, yes, you'll never guess this either, Steak Sauber, a team that hasn't been considered a high flyer in recent years. That team now stands 4th, showing that the entire paddock is investing heavily in faster pit stops. Pit stops can be well practiced in the factory. A car, a few wheel guns, a strong pit stop crew, and sufficient square meters of open space, and you can train, and train some more. Max Verstappen certainly has a point when he states that other teams have improved, but that Red Bull has also made changes. The team has rotated some people, and people are in new positions, but it's too easy to blame everything on that. It's clear that this shouldn't happen, but it's also not like other teams have been sitting still. They're improving their pit stops too. Other teams are getting better, causing Red Bull to lose ground relatively speaking, but that doesn't explain why it has become weaker, not only in terms of pit stop speed, but also in making pure mistakes. Think about the unsafe release in the Miami sprint race. Think about the slower pit stops in Japan, where Verstappen still managed to win. And think about the malfunctioning traffic lights, causing both Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda to unnecessarily wait in Bahrain. Of course, there was an explanation for everything. In Japan, 2 key mechanics and brothers were at home due to personal circumstances. In Bahrain, there was an electrical defect in the wiring harnesses of the pit gantry. And in Miami, a human error was made. They quickly admitted this fully, but upon seeing the footage, any other explanation would have been highly implausible from the start. Unrelated problems, Verstappen suggested. The problems might not be directly related, but they might indicate a larger, overarching issue. Verstappen touched on it with his previously mentioned response. Red Bull has shuffled personnel, with key figures such as Jonathan Wheatley departing and multiple people being placed in different positions. But a pit crew is like an orchestra that needs to be perfectly in tune with each other. As soon as one person hits the wrong note, the entire symphony is ruined. In Miami, it was the person responsible for releasing the car who struck that wrong note. Wheatley, in his role as team manager, was the conductor of this orchestra and kept a close eye on everything in his role. The incident in Miami, where Verstappen was released too early by the pit crew, wasn't just a setback in terms of pit crew performance. Verstappen unintentionally hit Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes due to the error, which naturally caused damage. The Dutchman received a 10-second time penalty, ultimately resulting in P17, and thus points were lost. And most importantly, the mechanics in the pit lane were also endangered by the incident. On multiple levels, a painful mistake with major consequences. It was Callum Nicholas, a former Red Bull mechanic stationed at the right rear wheel, who recently defended Red Bull in a video message. The gist of his message: bad pit stops are just part of it, they can't all be good. He added rather remarkable words. I've always said that if you can stay under 4 seconds, even with a bad pit stop, it's not that bad at all. In fact, it shows just how amazing the pit crew is. Things can go wrong, but if you can still get away with it, sometimes by the skin of your teeth, that's sufficient. So the crew is still brilliant even when making mistakes, but isn't the team even more brilliant if they don't make that mistake to begin with? In that regard, Verstappen is much clearer in his argument about what he expects from Red Bull. We need to make fewer mistakes and find more performance. It's that simple. Fewer mistakes then, but where do these mistakes creep in? We already indicated maybe the crew isn't fully attuned to each other yet. So Red Bull has no choice but to train and train some more. But perhaps some mental training is also required. The poorer pit stops coincide with poorer performance on track. When things aren't running smoothly on track, the pressure on the pit crew increases, and that's where you might still be able to force something with a good pit stop. Looking at a year like 2023, for example, it, somewhat exaggerated, doesn't matter much whether a pit stop takes 2 seconds or 5 seconds. In most cases, Verstappen would have returned to P1 anyway to rebuild his lead. Performing under pressure is a completely different story than performing without pressure, and it seems that's what Red Bull is experiencing currently. Verstappen reportedly expressed similar sentiments earlier in Bahrain, at least that's how he was quoted. If nothing is great about the car, we at least need to have good pit stops and operational matters need to run smoothly. Clear language from Verstappen, who has repeated this more than once. Red Bull is making mistakes and these are particularly visible in the pit lane. Can they turn the tide in this area? Yes. That must be the answer. Maybe too late to still compete for the DHL Fastest Pit Stop Award, but that's ultimately just a bonus. If they miss out on that award, Red Bull won't lose sleep over it, but if they at least make up ground in this area, it's a sign of progress. And the crew can definitely do it. They've already shown a pit stop of 2.15 seconds this season. Only Ferrari and Racing Bulls have produced faster. The crew can do it, the hands can do it, but can the heads do it? Time will tell. Do you think Red Bull can quickly recover? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you very soon with another Racing News 365 video. See you later.